Hello everyone, welcome to Rockshire Gaming. My name is Eric. Today we're going to be resuming our unboxing series of Marvel United Multiverse with the War of Kings expansion. This was the first expansion announced during the campaign for Multiverse. We've already covered the main core box of Multiverse. We also looked at the Galactus expansion, which we knew about going into the campaign, but this was the first one announced during the campaign. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, starting with the box right here. So we do have War of Kings, we've got Gladiator and Vulcan in the back. We have various Inhuman characters, Black Bolt, Lockjaw, Medusa, we got Crystal over there, and others. I'm not too familiar with the Inhumans characters. I've attempted a few times to read a lot of the Inhumans series that have been out in the last few years, but unfortunately, Inhumans are not usually my go-to. But over here on the back of the box, we do have all the product shots of all of the characters, including the ones we missed, like Gorgon, Triton, and Karnak. I can never forget Karnak. Genetically mutated by the Terrigen Mist, the Inhumans are gifted with extraordinary abilities as Black Bolt sought to unite his people and the Kree to bring peace and stability to their race. Emperor Vulcan of the Shi'ar Empire launched a treacherous assault, igniting an all-out war. Can the Inhumans put an end to the War of Kings before it ravages the galaxy? I don't know why I stopped right there. So anyway, this is War of Kings. We're going to go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Now, I did not read the War of Kings mini-series. I read some of the initial parts of the whole, like, Vulcan to Emperor Vulcan thing in the comic books. So I read through like Deadly Genesis when Vulcan was introduced. I read through the not miniseries, it was in Uncanny X-Men, the rise and fall of the Shi'ar Empire, but I never got any like Kingbreaker or anything after that. So this storyline is pretty unknown to me. So there is that right there. So anyway, once again, War of Kings box top right there. Let's go ahead and get this one opened right there. So we'll place that there. There's our little leaflet here. Now this does introduce the Terrigen Mists. If you're playing with Inhuman characters, you're going to place these on the Mist tokens on the board and whatnot. And I believe there's cards that the Inhuman characters have that flip them over. So there is what we have right there. It's adding 7 Inhuman heroes, 2 cosmic villains, all that sort of thing. Some stuff in here about team versus team mode. We are going to get 1 Gladiator tracker. We're getting a lot of tracker cubes here now, so it'd be interesting to see what those all look like. There's some information there specifically on Gladiator, Praetor of the Emperor of the Imperial Guard. We got a little bit of stuff here on Vulcan for team versus team mode. So there's all that right there. We're going to place this here. And then we have our punch board with a mess of KO tokens right there, as well as the Terrigen Mist tokens and the Seismic Barrier token, which I believe is for Crystal, and a few water tokens. I don't remember who those are specifically for. I'm assuming that's for Triton. That's what I'm going with right there. So we got that, and then there's the other side of the Terrigen Mist, and see we got a wild here, heroic action, movement, and a punch, and then 2 are blanks. So you do run into that risk when you're shuffling these and revealing them that you could get some blanks right there. So those are the tokens right here, and then we've got the War of Kings locations. So let's go ahead and open those up and take a look at them. So they do have the War of Kings branding right here, and we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So we've got Attilan right here, which I believe is the Inhumans home. It is showing it up in the sky there. I can never remember if it's up in the sky, is it in the middle of New York, is it on the moon? Who knows? We also have here the blue area of the moon right there, and then we've got the Watcher Citadel right there. It would have been cool if we, I don't think we did, but it would have been cool if we actually got like the Watcher, you know, kind of like a big giant figure to, I don't know, just stare at the board while we're playing. And then we've got Tarnax 4 right there. So those are going to be your 4 locations in the game. And then we've got our dashboards right here. We've got Emperor Vulcan with his supervillain tokens on the back right there and everything that he does right here. And then we've got Gladiator with special setup right there. It looks like shuffle Gladiator's hero deck and keep it face down nearby. So you are using his deck. I know I know from going through all the updates that there was some extra stuff with gliders. Forgot it until I saw that right there. And then the other side right here is Gladiator's stats, or whatever you want to do with that. So we've got that going on right there. And if you do notice, and I can't remember the context for it, but if you do notice that Gladiator doesn't seem to have health. So I'm sure there's some writing in here as to what you do with that. So we'll take a look at that when we actually do a gameplay against Gladiator. So we've got our Gladiator cube right here. It is a clear purpley cube right there. So I've got that. We've got a bunch of cards right here, so just regular size cards there, and then we do have our figure, so we'll take a look at some cards first and see what we got for that. All right, got that opened right there. Let's see if I can grab this and reveal the cards. So these are going to be, let's see, Vulcan's hero, or not hero, Vulcan's cards and threat cards. We do have Gladiator's Master Plan deck and his threat deck, as well as Gladiator's hero deck, and then we've got Triton's hero deck. Gladiator looking like two, actually it looks like a couple people have a couple starting hand cards right there. So let's go ahead and take a look at Emperor Vulcan first. So we've got Emperor of the Shi'ar Empire, so he's got a couple copies of that. Energy manipulation here, so he's got 3, looks like, specials. Emperor of the Shi'ar Empire, until the next villain turn, Vulcan can't be damaged if there are any thugs in his location. So there is that right there. And then that other card that we had, Never Ending, oh no, there was actually 4. Never Ending Love, Deathbird, has already been defeated. Bring her back into play in Vulcan's location if possible, or in the next clockwise location. No threats. So pretty much reveals that Deathbird's going to probably be one of his threat cards. I think Deathbird, isn't she in, she's in the core box for X-Men, or not core box, she's in the stretch goal box for X-Men. Energy manipulation, from now on, at the end of each hero turn in which a hero played a card with a special effect, Vulcan recovers 1 health, can't go above his starting value. So there's that. That is going to be all of his specials, I do believe. And then we have his threats. We got Deathbird right here, and then we got a few energy absorptions and 3 energy suppressions right there. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the Deathbird. Bam, deal 1 damage to 1 hero in this and both adjacent locations. And the hero that clears this threat may discard 1 of their KO tokens. So we've got that going on there. So that is going to be an example of the threats from Vulcan. And let's go ahead and take a look at Gladiator's deck here. We've got Magister Calarc. Words. Bring 1 random clear threat back into play in the next clockwise location without a threat if possible. So we've got a civilian version and a thug version of that card. As we get a little farther into the deck, he's got no other cards, it looks like, with writing on them as far as his master plan goes. For his threat cards, I don't know why I forgot the word of that. We've got Create Confidence. If involved in a duel while in this location, Gladiator reveals 1 extra card from the top of his hero deck. So we've got that going on. And then Imperial Guard. Each thug in this location requires 2 damage to be defeated, so he's got a couple of those. And then Praetor of the Imperial Guard. Bam! Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. The hero that clears this threat may take their first face-up card in the storyline back into their hand. So there is that. I am kind of slightly bummed that the Imperial Guard cards aren't like showing like Imperial Guard members kind of a thing. Like we don't have any of the different members of that group in there as his minions in the threat deck. So but that's fine. So we've got Gladiator's hero cards. So we'll go and take a look at those since they are technically used for his villain mode, it looks like. But he's got 2 starting hand cards, Invulnerability. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, ignore the first crisis token you receive during each hero and villain turn. So he's got that right there, which is a wild. And then he's going to have another starting hand card, Accelerated Healing Factor. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, if you have less than 3 cards in your hand at the end of a villain turn, you may draw 1 card. So he's got that, which also has a wild. And then after that, he's got just a pretty good artwork on there. There's his not Superman eye beams right there. So he's got that going on. A lot of him flying, a lot of punching. There's all his wilds. And then he's got 2 copies of Heat Beams. Perform one punch in your location equal to the number of cards in your hand. So you got that going. So that could be a pretty powerful attack, or it could be, depending on his health, it could be very crappy. So then we got that, and then looks like we've got Triton. Yep, Triton right there. And he's got 2 starting hand cards. He's going to have Aquatic Physiology. Place a water token in 3 different locations if there are none in play. Otherwise, you may move 1 water token to any location without one. So we've got that going on. And then his Terra Genesis card. As long as his card is face up in the storyline, during your turn, you may reveal any Terra Genesis missed tokens in your location. If you do, discard it to immediately perform the corresponding action. So that's more than likely, if I remember correctly, this is a card that everybody is going to have, or some variation of it, potentially. So we got that going on for us there. And then we do have Amphibious Elusiveness. If you are in a location with a water token, you cannot take any damage until the beginning of your next turn. It's going to have a double movement on it right there. And Commune with Water, punch in your location. Then if you are in a location with a water token, wild. So Triton getting wild. Commune with Water, got another one of those, another one of those. So he's got quite a few Commune with Waters. He's going to have 3 of those in his deck. So he's going to have 6 special cards. The rest of his deck are going to be just kind of just generic, you know, punch, move, heroic, all that stuff right there. So that is going to be Triton's deck. So we're going to take a look here in a second. Let me go ahead and get these out of the way, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the other deck of cards that we've got. This is going to be the rest of the Inhumans, because that's all that's left in here is the rest of the Inhumans. So yeah, again, I didn't read through War Kings, so I'm not sure the context of having the Inhumans in there. I know there's a whole thing with like them getting back together with the Kree and all that stuff, and Vulcan trying to expand the Shi'ar Empire and everything. So yeah, so that's my very, very basic surface knowledge of this storyline. So anyway, then we got that one right there. We've got Karnak right here. Crystal, we've got Lockjaw the good boy, we've got Medusa right here, and then Black Bolt right there, yonder. Terra Genesis, no, not Terra Genesis, that's Foresight. What do we got here? Terra Genesis. Just glancing at the Terra Genesis cards real quick. Looks like, yeah, so if the Inhumans have a Terra Genesis card, it is the same. It's not like they all have a card called Terra Genesis that works differently. It's like, I'm show Gorgon and Crystals right here. So that's what those look like. Right there. So again, like I said, they are pretty much the same card, just the symbols on the bottom are going to be a little different. So Gorgon has that Terra Genesis card. As far as his stuff goes, he's got Terrigen Enhanced Strength, gain 1 punch token, or punch twice against a single target in your location. So he's got a couple of copies of that, 3 copies of that one, and Seismic Shocks, punch in both adjacent locations. So that is going to be Gorgon's thing right there. So we got that going. And then let's go ahead and just take a look at Karnak. Karnak has, for a starting hand card, Foresight. As long as this card is face up in the storyline during your turn, if you are in the villain's location, you may look at the top 2 cards in the Master Plan deck, then put them back in the same order. So there's that. So it's not put them back and like rearrange them or anything like that. You got to reveal them and then put them back the way they were. So it's not that you get to like manipulate it. Like there's some characters where you see it, and if you can like put it on the bottom of the deck or anything like that, this is you got to put it back. We know what's coming, but you got to put that back. So starting hand cards. So that's pretty good though, because it is starting hand as long as this card is face up. So as long as you don't have a villain that's going to turn this one over, or someone doesn't play something that turns it over, I don't know if there is anything like that, then that'll be fine. You can actually take a look at like what the master plan is going to be. You can predict where like the villains are going to go, so that way you can better, you know, fight them and everything. That is pretty cool. Karnak, Master Martial Artist, double each punch in the previous hero card in the storyline, so that's pretty cool. It's going to have 1, 2 of those, and Precognition, double each heroic action on the previous hero card in the storyline. So he's got 2 of those, it looks like. So that's pretty cool. So that's example of that card right there. All right, and then the rest of his cards are just the generic token cards right there. Crystal, as we've already shown, she has that Terrigenesis card with a movement and heroic action right there. She's also going to have Pyrokinesis, double punch against a single target in an adjacent location. So she's got that, and then we've got Hydrokinesis, punch against up to 3 different targets, split as you like in your or adjacent locations. And then Geokinesis, place the Seismic Barrier token between your location and an adjacent one. A villain trying to move through the Seismic Barrier must stop in the preceding location, then remove the token. So this is one of those good cards where if you can find some way of doing it, of getting it back in your hand instead of it just being like one and done or anything like that, that would be pretty cool. And then she's got Aerokinesis, relocate any number of thugs, civilians, heroes, and villains between your and adjacent locations. So that'd be kind of good to move different thugs and whatnot to other people's locations. So that way you can, either rescue them without having to waste movement or to have to play a movement card or need a movement card. That kind of stuff is pretty nice. And then Fantastic Four Connection. Wild, or if the Fantastic Four cards are in play, perform actions of the same type as all action tokens on the Fantastic Four card. So this is talking about specifically that Fantastic Four mode that's in that expansion where you have that like card where the tokens go onto it. We have a couple videos of us playing through that, and by a couple I mean because we kept failing against Doctor Doom. But anyway, so there is an example of a regular card from Crystal, and so that is going to be all of Crystal's cards, all her cards with special abilities and whatnot. So then we're going to get to the good boy Lockjaw. Interdimensional teleport. Move to any location. You may bring any heroes in your location with you. So there is that. And I don't think Lockjaw has any cards in the, it's not sidekicks, in the Pets expansion or the Pets box and everything. I think Lockheed does, but not Lockjaw. So there is that. Interdimensional teleport. So we got another one of those with a different symbol. Tracking sense. Move to any location containing a hero, henchman, or villain, and double punch there. So got that. So there's that one, and then tracking sense, got another one of those, still with just moving on there, and that is all. But look how happy he is. Look how happy he is. He's a good boy. I mean, probably slobbering all over the place, but it's a good boy nonetheless. So there is Lockjaw, and then let's go ahead and take a look at Medusa's card. So she has a starting hand card again of Terrigenesis right there. And then she's also going to have Fantastic Four Connection, so she's got that card there. Because the Inhumans, that's the weird thing. The Inhumans, for me, I know, like, in recent history, have a lot of connection with, like, like the whole War Kings and all that stuff and everything. I always think of the Inhumans as, like, a Fantastic Four add-on, I guess. And I know, like, Medusa in recent history was in that FF comic that ran alongside the Fantastic Four comic a few years ago, so that may have been a while back. But let's see, 2 Fantastic Four connections, and then she's got Trichokinesis, defeat 2 thugs or rescue 2 civilians in your location. I'm assuming that's referring to the hair. Queen of Inhumans, another hero of your choice, immediately performs a wild, so that's nice. And then bond with Black Bolt. You may consider any face-up Black Bolt card in the storyline as the previous card in the storyline for this turn, or Black Bolt draws cards until he has 3 in hand. So that's pretty nice right there. You can either use Black Bolt's symbols, or if he needs to be healed, Medusa can heal up Black Bolt. So that's pretty good there. And then we're just going to have our double wilds. All the artwork we've already seen. There we go with that. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the King of the Inhumans, Black Bolt. So, again, Terrigenesis card right there. Next, we are going to have Leadership. Distribute any combination of 2 movement, movement, heroic action, or punch tokens from the pool among heroes. So we've got that. Always nice to get some token distribution there. Matter and energy manipulation. Heroes in your location cannot take any damage until the beginning of your next turn, or perform punch against each thug, henchman, and villain in your location. So there is that. I'll go ahead and read it because I'm pretty sure I messed up the reading of that card. So we got that. Matter energy manipulation, got another one of those. Hypersonic scream with no symbols on the bottom. Triple punch against a single target in the opposite location. So that's pretty cool. So I mean, if you're like down, 3 spots away, you can kind of keep this one in your pocket and still be able to hit the villain if you can get the movement right. If like you can't get all the way over to him, you can still fire away at that one. And then Bond with Medusa. You may consider any face-up Medusa card in the storyline as previous card in the storyline for this turn, or Medusa draws cards until she has 3 in hand. So that's pretty cool. So with that card right there, and with the one in Medusa's deck, if you don't basically utilize having them together in a battle, then I mean, you only get the token on the bottom. You don't get any of the other stuff from it. So that's pretty cool. But it does force you, again, to have to use somebody, or not use somebody, have somebody be the other character in order to get the full use out of essentially one card. More artwork that we have seen there with Black Bolt. So that is going to be all of the Inhuman cards in the deck. So let's go ahead and take a look, finally, at the cards. Now, I did notice one thing in here is that there's a lot of cards in here with the wells. If you are someone like me who sleeves their cards and you keep all the boxes, I might have a little bit of difficulty fitting all the cards back in this one, just because there's a lot of hero cards and whatnot, and these are not shallow enough or these are too shallow to get sleeve cards fully in there. They can fit, but you're not going to be able to get them all in here because yeah, they're not, the wells aren't deep enough. So there's that. So let's go ahead and take a look at our Inhumans. That is a lot of hair right there. So we got Medusa. And then let's go ahead and take a look at Black Bolt right there. Getting all angry. Keep him away from the Scarlet Witch. So we got the good boy Lockjaw. So happy. So happy. Woof woof. Was he in the Inhumans TV show? Let me know down below. I can't remember. I didn't actually watch it. So anyway, we've got Crystal right here, which is pretty cool because she's got both like blue and red clear plastic on there. Like this is like a water effect over here that they were able to put in, and then we got the fire effect on there as well. So as far as like how they made this figure, it looks pretty cool. With that, again, worried about painting the painting all the clear plastic on there. We got Karnak right here, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got Gorgon right there with a big old mace. Oh, whack, whack. There we go. So they got that, and then Triton with his watery base right there, clear plastic. So we got that one. And then our anti-hero, we got Gladiator. And that right there. And then our villain for the expansion, we have the third Summer's brother, Vulcan, right here. So there we go. I would have to say my favorites in this box. Of course, Lockjaw looks very cool in here. Crystal, with the way they did the clear plastic, is pretty nice. As far as detail, though, I'm going to have to possibly give it to Medusa with all of that hair and everything. Like, unfortunately, the other figures look very plain when compared to all that. Really like the way that sculpt came out. So anyway, with that said, this has been the War of Kings expansion. So we are, again, going to be doing daily expansion reveals or daily expansion unboxings for the rest of Multiverse this week. So make sure that if you are not already, go ahead and hit the notification bell so you know when those are going to be released. And also, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because, like I said, we're going to be doing a ton of stuff with Marvel United, if that is your jam, between unboxings, get some gameplays, and there's some other video ideas I have for this stuff. We'll get into that all later, but just make sure, if you are not already, go ahead and subscribe. The next one we are going to be unboxing is going to be Age of Apocalypse, so be looking out for that one here soon. And as I said, I have been Eric. This has been Rockshire Gaming. This has been the War Kings expansion for Marvel United Multiverse, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.